Well, that didn't take long. Star Wars Episode 9 has a new director, or I guess I should say an old one. In the wake of Colin Trevorrow's sudden departure from the movie, Lucasfilm has brought back The Force Awakens' J.J. Abrams to direct Episode 9. The man who gave us the ending of Lost will be wrapping up the third Star Wars trilogy in what I'm sure will be a satisfying climax. On the upside, it seems that the director's switch has pushed Episode 9 back to winter with a new release date of December 20th, 2019. In much better news, the Hellboy reboot seems to be coming along nicely. Lionsgate released the first image of David Harbour in the red prosthetics, and while I'm sure there's a contingent that are upset Ron Perlman won't be reprising the role, you have to admit that looks damn good. Meanwhile, guess who's coming home? Jamie Lee Curtis will be back as Laurie Strode for the upcoming Halloween semi-reboot. Set for October 19th, 2018, the new movie will be a direct sequel to 1981's Halloween 2, presumably ignoring the third movie, which had nothing to do with Michael Myers, the fourth, fifth, and sixth movie, which brought in some kind of Irish cult thing, the seventh and eighth movie, where Laurie Strode died, and the ninth and 10th movies, which were the Rob Zombie reboots. In other words, this will be the third movie in the series, as long as you ignore the other 8. And in I'll Bet You Didn't See That Coming news, Rooster Teeth's RWBY is coming to theaters. The web series will have a one-night-only theatrical release to launch its 5th volume on Thursday, October 12th. Over in video games, some breaking news out of Dragon Ball Park Monthly. While the usual suspects continue to roll out for Dragon Ball FighterZ, the Japanese magazine revealed that an original character designed by Akira Toriyama has been created for the game. It's unclear if this Android 21 will be a playable character, but she appears to be a central figure in the game's story mode. Meanwhile, Nintendo released a massive Nintendo Direct this week, going over a wide range of upcoming releases, both first and third party. Starting with the 3DS, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon look to be continuing the story of its predecessor with a handful of new areas to explore and a few new Pokemon forms. Nothing really surprising there. For other games we already knew about, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga is getting a 3DS remake, which will come with a new Goomba-centered side story. Naturally, the game will be compatible with the Goomba and Koopa Troopa amiibos coming out on October 6th. Kirby is getting a strange new game with Kirby Battle Royale, a top-down action game with co-op and multiplayer competitive. And for more co-op fun, fans of Mario Party rejoice. Nintendo has selected the top 100 minigames from the Mario Party franchise for a new game. Though it's hard to tell if it's a proper Mario Party game or just a collection of minigames, the top 100 does allow 4 players to play off of a single cartridge. And finally, for first-party support, a 3DS version of Fire Emblem Warriors is coming alongside the Switch version, just in case you want Fire Emblem Warriors on your handheld. For JRPG fans, Atlas has you covered, bringing 3 new titles to the 3DS. The Alliance Alive is set for 2018, along with Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey Redo and Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology. Meanwhile, launching this week is a demo for Etrian Odyssey 5 Beyond the Myth. For mystery fans, Professor Layton and Ace Attorney are also getting 3DS entries, and because it's on everything else, Minecraft it's already released for the 3DS this week. Moving over to the Nintendo Switch, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 tells the classic story of a boy out on a quest to help a large-breasted girl that is also a sword. And speaking of large-breasted girls with swords, Lyn has been confirmed for Fire Emblem Warriors. Sadly, no amiibo announced yet. As for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, surprisingly little was announced about the upcoming DLC. Instead, we found out that the new Champion amiibos will unlock new helmets, so that's something. For arcade fans, Nintendo is releasing ports of their classic arcade games with Arcade Archives. While NES ports of these games are available far and wide, this is the first time these games have been translated directly from the cabinet. And Kirby is getting some Switch love as well with Kirby Star Allies, a somewhat traditional Kirby game for a change, even if it seems designed mostly for multiplayer. Finally, for Super Mario Odyssey, Nintendo made the earth-shattering revelation that the game will feature an ice level and a water level. But there's a lot more than just Nintendo IPs to look forward to. The system is boasting a surprising amount of third-party support, starting with Morphe's Law, an exclusive new shooter where you literally shoot the mass out of your opponent, increasing the size of various body parts throughout the match, which changes how your character plays. Of course, Rocket League is already headed for the Switch with some Nintendo-themed cars, and for the MOBA fans out there, Arena of Valor looks like MOBA, the game, but it's also on the Switch. If Skyrim isn't on enough platforms for you yet, the Switch version will be out in November, but that's not the only Bethesda title on the way. Shockingly, Doom is headed for the Switch this holiday, with Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus launching next year. Back to the JRPG, Square Enix and the producers of Bravely Default are developing Project Octopath Traveler. Putting the roleplay back in JRPG, the game centers around 8 characters, each with their own unique game mechanics to navigate the story. Also from Square Enix, Dragon Quest Builders combines Minecraft with Dragon Quest. Zelda. Look at that kid. That is a Toon Link in a blue tunic. Whatever it is, the Switch sure seems to have something for everybody. So, moving on to this week's releases, hitting theaters this week is Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Badass spy action crosses the Atlantic as, you know what, it really doesn't even matter what this movie is about. Just look at it. It looks spectacular. And if it looks a little much for kids, drop them off at the Lego Ninjago movie. I mean, sure, it's a movie about teenage ninja superheroes, but when is a Lego movie not entertaining? And for something a little scarier, friend request. Social media gets even more destructive as a pissed-off ghost starts unfriending people in some pretty horrific ways. Over on television, Gotham returns for its 4th season this week as Bruce Wayne gets closer to Batman while Penguin rules the city. Meanwhile on Netflix, Fuller House is still a thing, going on 3 seasons now, so hey, good for them. As for video games releasing this week, on PC there's Echo, a neat-looking action game that has you navigating a creepy palace filled with enemies that base their AI off of your own actions. For something more classic, The Caribbean Sail is a neat-looking game that brings a seafaring twist to the Oregon Trail. And adding to the list of cool-looking rhythm-based puzzle platformers, The God Paradox has some neat visuals and might give you an existential crisis. Over on the fighting game scene, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is the latest in the Versus series that mixes the best of both companies, or at least the best of both companies whose characters' movie rights aren't held by other studios. Back to the retro style, Fightin' Rage is a classic-looking beat-em-up that seems to take all the right inspiration from old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games. Meanwhile, Megatronic Void is so inspired by Metroid that it even ripped off the game's sound assets. Too bad it looks like crap. For another platformer, Super Fancy Pants Adventure looks pretty nice considering the main character is a stick figure, and Auto Age Standoff takes a crack at bringing back the vehicle shooter. Not sure how well it'll succeed, but at least the game looks pretty. Finally on PC, Steampunk Syndicate 2 is our tower defense game of the week, and that is all I really have to say about that. Over on the Switch, Pokken Tournament DX is arriving, presumably hopeful that people who bought the Wii U version last year won't be resentful about the newer upgrade. And on the 3DS, Pokemon Silver and Gold will be available on the eShop this week. Purchasing either game will also net you a free Celebi for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon when it comes out. Wrapping things up with this week's CGBros video, we have Bookworm by Richard Wiley, an animated short about a librarian meeting his greatest foe, and possibly what Slimer was before he became a ghost. That leaves us with this week's awesome video. Hat-loving Gamer gave us a video game version of Police Squad that fans of the classic spoof will have to appreciate. That's everything for this week, so how are you feeling about J.J. Abrams returning to Star Wars? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe, pass this video around to your friends, and have a great week!